Hi everybody, Jennifer Blevin-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today I want to talk about tips for successful credentialing. Now let me just preface this video that these are my opinions based off of my experience doing credentialing. It could be different for other people, and I just am trying to put this out there to try to help jumpstart some people or give you an idea of what is important if you want this to go as smooth as possible. I've been getting quite a bit of communication on my credentialing videos, which I love and thank you. I appreciate that if you are one of those people. But so many people are being thrown into having to do this that have never done it before, and they're just trying to put processes together and get an idea of what it looks like. And so I'm just putting this out there to hopefully help any of you that are either struggling with credentialing, just starting to credential who's never done it before, or people who have done it before that maybe you're flexible and need to change some things because you see some areas that are maybe weaker than others in your process. So my first tip is organization. You are not going to be successful at this unless you are organized. Spreadsheets, worksheets, using your calendar. I kept a paper and pen next to me when I made phone calls to payers so I could jot stuff down quickly and then transcribe it into electronic form. I can't tell you how much credentialing and success in this is organization. First one. Secondly, persistence. You have to be persistent, whether it's to gather information from providers so that you can start the credentialing process and submit applications or re-credential a provider, or if it is for submitting those applications and following up with payers on the status of those applications, but you have to be persistent. Persistent does not mean annoying, because you don't want to rub people the wrong way where they're going to disregard you. So my suggestion with the persistence is to get on a schedule, a routine, a cycle in all of this. Utilize your resources like your electronic calendar in your email or Outlook, or even a paper calendar if you use it and check it every day. And I like to use it because you can set reminders in your calendar that will pop up a few hours before you need it to, or a day or two before you need it to, so that it reminds you to do whatever you need to do. Call Blue Cross Blue Shield to check on those applications. Submit something that you're missing in case you get sidetracked with other things and you might forget it. So you put the reminder, the deadline on your calendar. Anything that I submit application-wise, I put it on the calendar. So let's say December 18th, I submitted the initial application for Dr. Smith to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I add that to my calendar so that I can go back and I can look there in case I forget to record it on my worksheet or my spreadsheet, my tracking documents that I've created to keep myself organized. So organization number one, persistence number two. They go hand in hand. Number three is communication. It is so important that you are able to effectively communicate in writing, electronic written, such as email, in person, and over the phone. You have to be good at checking your emails, checking your voicemails, checking the mail when it comes at the office or wherever you have credentialing documents and responses coming to. You have to be good at that. You have to be willing to be constantly checking all of that, because if you need to return a phone call, if you need to call somebody and talk to them about a missing application, time could be of the essence here as well. So communication and being able to put down on paper or in an email concise information without all of the kind of messy, jumbled stuff. People are going to be more responsive to you if you cut to the point and when you're talking to them, when you're writing to them, give bulleted points, give the necessary details you need, but don't do excessive information, because then people just start blocking it out, or they don't want to take the time to read all the information because it's just overwhelming when they open it or when they start listening to you. So just be to the point, give all the details that are needed and not anything more. Simple is best. The fourth tip is attention to detail. I can't tell you how many times I have spoken to a credentialing specialist from the payer side of things over the phone that has commended me with how well I pay attention to the details on the applications and the information that they're asking for. They are so used to people not reading every word, not understanding exactly what is needed, submitting things that are not completed or missing information, and they're having to go back and forth multiple times to get what is needed just to process the application. If you don't pay attention to these little details and you don't catch those and initiate it and send things initially when it's needed, it's delaying the whole process and you kind of get moved to the back of the line. Because if they come to your application and they start to review it and it's missing something, they're going to say, nope, can't do it. I'm just going to have to let them know it's delayed, basically, and tell them what they need and move on to the next application. So it is very important that if you're doing credentialing or if you're hiring someone to do credentialing on your behalf, that they are very detail-oriented and they understand the nomenclature that is going to be used on these applications and why it's important. Because they don't just ask for anything on these applications just to micromanage. Everything that they're looking at and they're reviewing is important and they need it. So you want to make sure you're providing it in the way that they need it as soon as they need it. And my fifth thing is use your resources. There are resources out there. I know there's not a lot. I've been told that. But tip number 5, think outside the box. Use your resources. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat sometimes. If you're waiting for a call back from somebody and you've tried calling them multiple times, maybe try calling another department that can ping them and say, hey, this person's been waiting for you. Or send an email if you have an email address even though you've been calling, or vice versa. If you've been emailing someone and they're not responding, pick up a phone and give them a call. I still am old school that way. I believe in direct communication over the phone or in person. If you know of someone who works at a payer but in a different department that maybe could help you, try to use that. And that's only if you're desperate, if things aren't moving along, if you're not hearing back. Use the portals, the payer portals, if you have access already, which sometimes you can't if you're not credentialed yet, but if you can, use it. If you have access to the internet, which most people do, we're in the 2020s, go to the payer website, find out any information you can collect from there. Try looking at different boards or join Facebook groups that might be able to help you with this. Think outside the box, think of different resources. If you guys have another specialist in the area or you have friends that work at another medical practice, even though it's not the same specialty, maybe they can help you or point you in the right direction, or they have direct communication phone numbers or emails to somebody at the payer that you don't, that they can share with you. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, sorry, I'm not assigned to your account, I can't help you. But then you could come back and say, well, is there any way you could provide that information to me who is assigned to my account? Or I've been trying to get a hold of somebody or get an update on my application and I'm running into dead ends. Is there any tips that you can provide to me or information that will help me get a little bit further in this? I don't like taking no for an answer, and I don't like things being stuck in one place for very long. So I tend to be very persistent, but I also think outside the box. I use my resources, and I have been very successful in credentialing because of that. Now, I'm not saying I don't run into issues, because I have ran into my fair share of issues, but I can tell you that most of those, 99.9% of the time, are not because of me or anything I did or dropped the ball or anything like that. It's all on the payer side. And that makes me feel better, and it makes me feel better when I'm reporting to my boss or the provider in which I'm working on their behalf, because I can show them the paper trail, all my documentation with my organization, the dates, times, who I spoke with, my attempts to call. I'll even record that, date and time with no response, left a voicemail, and then of course sending emails. You have your own paper trail there. But I feel good about what I've done and what I can do in the process, so that I can show whomever has hired me or I'm working for that I have done all of this and that the ball's in the payer's court. And sometimes when I do that, the provider goes, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous, I'm gonna call. And sometimes the providers do have to call, and they get a little bit further than I do, and it's just kind of the hierarchy of the way things go. But I'm just telling you, these are the tips that I have used that have kept me successful at credentialing. If you have any other tips that have worked for you, that have kept you successful in credentialing, please share that with everyone in the comments. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.